Hi everybody. In this video, I would like to present a few of the ideas in Thomas L. Carson's Ethical Issues in Selling and Advertising. Carson begins his article by explaining the similarities and differences between deception and lying. Deception is intentionally causing someone to have false beliefs, whereas lying is a false statement intended to deceive others. Lying arguably requires the intent to deceive others, but lies that do not succeed in causing others to have false beliefs are not instances of deception. The word deception, he says, implies success. While a lie must be a false statement, deception needn't involve false statements. Thus, many instances of deception do not constitute lying. Withholding information does not constitute lying because it is not a case of causing someone to have false beliefs. On the other hand, actively concealing information usually constitutes deception. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, prohibits deceptive advertising. Carson believes that deceptive ads harm consumers by causing them to have false beliefs about the nature of the products advertised. Carson says that there are several features of the FTC definition of deception that stand out. First, an ad is deceptive only if the deception is material to consumer behavior. Second, an ad can be deceptive even if all its explicit claims are true. Third, ads that contain false statements are not necessarily considered deceptive. Fourth, deception doesn't require that the advertiser intend to mislead customers. Fifth, if an ad is directed at a specific audience, then the deceptiveness of the ad is relative to that audience. Sixth, deception is defined in terms of the likelihood of misleading customers who act reasonably. Carson believes that advertisers who practice deception violate the golden rule. He says that they themselves are consumers and are not willing to have others deceive them in the marketplace or base their own economic decisions on false beliefs. He goes on to say, in almost the same way, deceptive advertising fails to satisfy the requirements of Kant's categorical imperative. If deceptive advertising were a universal practice, few people would trust advertising, and no one could gain an advantage by means of deceptive advertising. So the two things would cancel each other out and therefore lead to a logical contradiction. This violates the universal law version of the categorical imperative. Carson says that according to the common law principle of caveat emptor, sellers are not required to inform prospective buyers about the properties of the goods they sell. The best statement of caveat emptor is that buyers themselves are responsible for determining the quality of the goods they purchase. Carson next presents Holley's theory of a voluntary or mutually beneficial market exchange. Holley says that a voluntary exchange occurs only if the following necessary conditions for an acceptable exchange are met. 1, both buyer and seller understand what they are giving up. 2, neither buyer nor seller is compelled to enter into the exchange as a result of coercion. 3, both buyer and seller can make rational judgments about costs and benefits. Carson next criticizes Holley's theory. He says that first, when time does not permit it, a salesperson cannot be morally obligated to provide all information necessary to ensure that the customer is adequately informed. Second, Holley's theory implies that a salesperson would be obligated to inform customers that merchandise in her store sells for less at a competing store. Third, Holley's theory seems to yield unacceptable consequences in cases in which the buyer's alternatives are severely constrained. Carson believes that salespeople have moral duties regarding the disclosure of information when dealing with rational adult consumers. He gives 4 minimal prima facie duties. 1, salespeople should provide buyers with safety warnings and precautions about the goods they sell. 2, salespeople should refrain from lying and deception in their dealings with customers. 3, as much as their knowledge and time constraints permit, salespeople should fully answer questions about the products and services they sell. 4, salespeople should not try to steer customers toward purchases that they have reason to think will prove to be harmful to customers or that customers will come to regret. A prima facie duty is one's actual duty, other things being equal. That is, a prima facie duty is an actual duty in the absence of conflicting duties of greater or equal importance. Carson thinks that his minimal prima facie duties are an improvement over Holley's theory of market transactions, and in the paper he details why he thinks they're better. He uses an example on page 202, for instance, to clarify his theory. The duty that this example clarifies is his duty number 1. I hope that this video has clarified this article a bit for you. Thank you very much.